newsletters, we have a little structure that we like to use.
Yeah, your format.
The format is called the 3 Gs. Greeting, guts, and getting. So part 1, greeting, is say hello and be really informal about it. You could maybe do a couple sentences about what you've been up to or what the band's up to. You're in the studio, maybe you're just been on vacation. A little something that's going to draw the reader in.
Right.
And like
and it could be something as silly as like, you know, what your cat did.
Yeah.
The famous cat. You know, it's like, it doesn't have to be really profound. It's just something that kind of shows a side of you that they wouldn't normally get to see.
That's right. Yeah. And then we have guts, which is obviously the content of what you're going to say. So that could be a story. That could be some news, something that's happening with the band. Maybe you're in the studio, you want to talk about something that inspired you to write a song. It could be anything, but that's sort of the story. And then the final thing is the getting.
The getting.
Which is the call to action. And we recommend only one call to action.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, if that's what you recommend, because it can get really confusing for people if there's more. You know, she's like, well, come to my gig and also buy my CD, and then while you're at it, you know, be my friend on Facebook, you know, and do them all now.
Right, and so that just confuses the reader, and they don't know, well, should I go to the gig, or should I friend them on Facebook, and then they take no action.
None. Yeah.
So at the very end of your newsletter, in the getting, you want one strong call to action, which is why sending newsletters regularly and consistently becomes important. Yeah. We believe 12 times a year, once a month minimum, and that's 12 asks. So you could 1 month be like, follow me on Twitter. 1 month you could say, join us on Facebook. 1 month could be, come to the gig. 1 month could be, buy the new CD or a new single. So greeting, guts, and getting. Yeah.
And I think once a month is good for like that kind of newsletter in that format, but I think you can also, like in between, just do it, just not a big formal HTML newsletter, but just like a little email that goes out, very small, like a little note. This has just happened, if it's some piece of news. And don't be afraid to do that. If it's small, it's short, it's like 2 paragraphs. It's nice because actually they feel like they're getting a personal email from you, just like they would from a friend. And a lot of people say that, a lot of internet marketers actually say, the HTML is fine, but there's a lot of more effectiveness sometimes when it's just textual, you know, just text, not all the fancy graphics. Because they do feel like, wow, I'm getting this email from whoever and they're asking me to come to their gig, or they just want to let me know that they got an award or something like that. So it doesn't have to be a big production every time. You can have your really great once a month or more. You could do maybe twice a month with that kind of format, but don't be afraid to, you know, not all the time, but when you really have something to say, when you actually do have a piece of news, to just send one out that's just kind of just a little bit of text.
And one other thing we recommend is you don't always have to have a show or a thing going on. You can just email your newsletter list and say, hey, the band is going to hang out and go drinking. Or seriously, invite. One of our artists, when he goes on the road, he sends these casual emails and says, hey, I've got a day off in Miami. Anyone want to go to the beach? And then he gets like 4 fans and they all hang out and he has a really good time with them. And it's a really nice thing to do. So invite your fans to come out, maybe a pub crawl, maybe a coffee shop, maybe go to yoga. Who knows? You know, it's a great way to bond. Great way to bond with your list.
That's great.
So can you give us some sort of call to actions that don't seem very salesy, like a good way of maybe structuring? One thing I've always find is artists hate asking for things.
Yeah.
Is there a nice way that you can structure an ask so it doesn't occur too salesy?
I think the best way is to just make it sound like an invitation to be included in something, as opposed to, you know, go do this. Like what you were saying, I mean, the pub crawl thing is really nice. It's like, hey, come join the party. Or even if you're inviting people to become part of Facebook or something like that, it's just wording it in a way that's like, hey, join the party. Hey, we're doing it over here. You know, come over and join the group, kind of a thing, as opposed to, I really want you to, you know, be my friend on Facebook because I really need fans and I really need friends. So it's just kind of more of an attitude. And I think that there's a lot that you can do relative to what we were talking about, things that aren't maybe even necessarily musical, but maybe it is something interesting that you came across just in your musical life or in your personal life that you just want to share with them. It's like, this is really cool, you know, check it out, or someone else is doing this, and kind of that spirit of generosity in sharing information as opposed to more of the spirit of like, please buy whatever I have to offer, and please come to my gig. And so I think it's kind of just more of that attitude. It's like, what can I offer that they can be included in?
Yeah. And one other thing I would always recommend doing is a couple times a year, free MP3. Hey, list, here's a live version of one of our songs, or here's just an interview from us at doing a podcast, or just a little treat that they can put in their iPods and take with them.
That's wonderful. Gifts are great. That's a great way.
Gifts are great.
Gifts are great. Everyone wants a gift. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to do. That's a wonderful way to get people involved too. So,
thank you, Nancy.
Hey, thank you.
So this is Ariel. This is Sound Advice. This has been week 6, Why You Need a Newsletter.